Good evening, people of the Blue Planet. Welcome to the Red Moon Waning bracket in the Zemus Zone 5 tournament. We have Fleury14 face off against YangusKhan here. I am Huffman, joined on the mic by JMac. JMac, how's it going today?
Oh, it's going great. It's Thursday night, and we are ready for some free enterprise. Tonight we have our Waning elimination match between Fleury14 and YangusKhan. And I think it's going to prove to be a very, very hype, interesting match. And as chat has been asking, there might be some hot garbage around here. Who knows?
Yeah, if we do have it, we blame Pancrez, who is our restreamer and has rolled this seed. Do not blame NG Dave, our tracker, as he is helping out substantially. You can also blame Fusoya, who is not in this seed. He's not here. He won't hear it. So,
yeah.
Send all your curses.
Edge. Yep.
I mean, Edge, that's a separate conversation, but Fu. Yes, we have a Cecil start here, so our runners will be dealing with the Paladin. We'll have plenty of incentive to go up Mount Ordeals, but we'll not have the just raw power and utility of a Fusoya, or also raw power and utility of an Edge, really.
Oh yeah, so we will be trying to find some good weapons. Even though it is Team Pro, we're hoping to find some decent weapons for our team, especially for our starters, so we can get some power and try and find as many of these bosses overground as possible.
Yep, and thanks to YangusKhan, we can see that list of bosses that we're going to have to deal with. Of course, Golbez and the Football Gauntlet always involved, but we have Anline, Magus Sisters. Valvalus could be a serious problem, depending on where she's hiding out. Evil Wall, Odin, CPU, those are really variable, depending on the slot. And Lion as well. So get somewhere that the physical damage is nothing to worry about, and, well, that fight's nothing to worry about.
Yes, but you know what? That's what happens when you're playing a Red Moon seed. You get all the boss objectives that you really don't want to find in most places.
Very true, very true. But it looks like we should be ready to roll in just a moment or so we'll see who our second character is going to be for these two once that trip's over.
Yes, and you know what, chat? Enemy unknown has been rolled, so sorry. We'll figure that out as we go.
It is a mystery.
But yeah, that Val, let's just hope that our runners get a cane. I mean, our runners are gonna hope. We, however, we love watching runners suffer a little bit. So, Well,
I mean, we have seen plenty of party configurations with no Dragoons at all that can take that fight no problem. It can certainly be done. Depends on, how competent your party is, what your levels are looking like, and again, where she's hiding, which we have no clue. We do have a Porum to start us off, and we see a Sparkle handing over the hook, right away the hook.
Well.
This kind of obviates the entire surface of the Earth, is what it does.
Vroom vroom. Let's go. And we have our White Mage, which is always a good character to see right off the bat, so you don't have to go find those Cure 3s.
Yep. Got to get a couple of levels in to get those higher tier spells, but they are handily accessible at this point.
And yes, we are off, and we are seeing both of our runners make their way to Mysidia. This is quite a common opening because this is where you can pick up 2 characters right away.
And it looks like they're going to be Tella and Sid. So one character between them in most configurations. But, they both have really good uses. It's just a question of which uses you care about in this seed.
That is a very good point. Both of those characters are what you would call utility characters, because Tella can do a little bit of everything, and so can Sid. Sid can wear a lot of weapons that, on T-Pro especially, you can find. Oh, well, there's the curse ring.
Hey, there you go.
That is always something that is great to just know where it is and have it in your back pocket, especially when you've got a Tella in your party and a Sid. Both of them love cursed rings.
Yeah, honestly, what you've done there is you've obtained 2 anchors. Basidia, I guess, is just really like a seafaring town, very nautical town. Plenty of anchors around, and really, it's your choice of which one you take at this point.
And because this is a Red Moon seed, we actually know that all of our characters start with vanilla gear. So we do have a weapon for Sid, so we know Sid can do some damage, but there is also a cane. So there's our Val insurance. So I believe that our runners are probably pretty happy with this very utility party happening right now.
Yeah, I think for me, I know there's a couple more character spots available on the overworld. I'm checking those. I'm probably not sticking with this party specifically. I would want either Sid or Tella. I don't really want both in this flag set. But that is still a valid strategy that just leans into the physical damage. As you were saying, Sid has a lot of equipment that he can use. So if you find plenty of axes, well, here's your tank, so to speak.
Oh! Well, some people might call this seed anchor percent. I'm going to call this seed allow for the anchors to do things percent.
It's a very long category, though. That's category extensions is what we've done. We get our Rydia over in the Watery Pass. We have so many options now in terms of managing that agility.
Yes, but you know what? We have better agility anchors, so let's let Rydia do some things this seed, please. Thanks.
I mean, we've had runs this tournament where you'll get Rydia, you'll find a Leviathan orb, and all of a sudden she has way more value as an attacker than as an anchor. And it's entirely possible, especially we have a hook right out of the gate. It's easier to go to places where that might be hiding and make that decision earlier.
You know what? And there's a Rosa. So we now know our 7 characters. And you know what? We've got some really good options with party comp that we might actually see a little bit more party divergence than we normally would in these seeds.
Yeah, not too surprising to see Rosa taken over Porum. I feel like that's the decision a lot of runners are going to make.
Because she is a good source of damage without having the heroine robe and things like that. However, I have seen more runners actually stick with Porum this tournament just because she gets those utility spells that you need for that hook route much earlier.
That is very true, yes. And I think if you didn't have Tella and Sid available, that would be a very strong consider. I would probably even go double White Mage at that point and let them both kind of off class, as it were, at various points.
But we do see Fleury also decide to take that Rosa over Porum. So in actuality, we right now have exact parties on both sides.
No, Fleury has taken Rydia. Yangus is still holding on to Kane.
Yangus has the Kane.
Mm-hmm. So that's going to be our difference: Dragoon versus Summoner.
Well, depending on where that Val is, we might have some early advantage for Yangus just by holding on to that Kane. So we do see both of our runners making their way down to Antlion. We will get our first look at our first boss. For those who are joining us a little bit late in chat, we are having a little bit of technical difficulties, but we will get our objectives on the screen first. But Octoman, not an objective boss.
No, and not something that we're terribly concerned about either. It's going to be a little bit fast because of OctoScript, which is surely a programming language at this point. But it's still 1,000 HP. That's it. So knock it out, and you're done. Don't really have to worry about chopping down the tentacles.
And we did find some pretty decent weapons for Sid already. So he's going to make really quick damage on most of the bosses in this overworld between the axe that Fleury has equipped, as well as we picked up an Earth Hammer in in the waterfall, I believe.
Yeah, I believe it was in the watery pass. But yeah, that's Fleury through and Yangus right behind him. So both of them will be picking up this adamant rock that is a thing, I guess. We're not terribly concerned about Supersmith. I can't say that I've seen anyone bother to visit Koval this tournament thus far. I haven't seen every race, but it's very rare to go.
It is, because so many times you end up noping out of key items that don't do progression because we're just on boss hunts. So whereas normally, like, you know, we see a lot of runners keep key items. In this flag set in particular, because we are on so many boss hunts, we've kind of seen a little bit of change in the gameplay. So it's been very interesting to watch these seeds unfold.
And actually, this is an interesting play from Fleury, keeping Rydia, going over and seeing what the free summon is in itself. So that's half of a healer, effectively. That's a pretty good roll.
Yeah, and especially for some of these early game bosses, that self can just help kind of roll that damage without having to do much in way of getting Rydia some levels. You just have to have enough MP on her to cast it once. And then she can just kind of do some extra damage.
Yep, and then we saw Fleury also stumbled across the Ashura summon, so that's more healing in his pocket. I dare say we're good for heals.
Yeah, I would say so. We have access to 2 white mages, plus a Tella, plus a healing Rydia. So you know what? We've got all the cure spells going on here.
What we don't have is black magic. Tella is the only character that can cast any manner of black spell at all. Once Rydia grows up, naturally. But yeah, we have Ogopogo invading Fabul, so you could write your own lore on that one if you wish, but we're not checking off any objectives just yet.
Oh no, but we do have the objectives on the screen. We have taken off enemy unknown because we decided that chat was, just getting a little bit confused. So it's fine. Enemy is now known.
Yeah. That second boss in the tracker though, that's chat. That's the big question mark. What? I'm now for the remainder of this race, I'm gonna have in the back of my mind, what would it look like for our runners to defeat chat? What would that entail? I don't know. I don't think I want to let that simmer for a minute.
Oh, I don't know. You gotta play us and tease us and not forge when you have forge and go all the way through the process and then leave. That's a tease for sure.
That's also a demonstration of why you don't usually use summons against Ogopogo. It counters all of them with Blaze, which isn't fatal in this particular case, but kind of removes the value of casting Sylph if everyone immediately takes damage.
Yes, this is true. But thankfully, at least this Ogopogo in this particular spot, we can kind of do this strategy and it be more effective than, seeing Ogopogo somewhere else, for instance.
Yeah. But that's, again, both of our runners through at pretty much the same time.
Yeah, Yangus, so we are seeing good neck-and-neck raceway going here.
Yeah, but Yangus leaning on that physical damage approach, Fleury mixing it up. And hey, we'll take a tower key.
Yeah, that is always something that you like to see on the overworld, just because once we know we're going to go down the hook route, and we get to peek the top of tower boss. So that is probably going to drive, depending on what that boss is, drive our racers to do tower before some of these other things that we've kind of seen runners lean into on these seeds, like Dwarf Castle for 2 boss checks.
Yeah, and doubly so if we go down the hook route and we do a little quick peek and it's something free up at the top.
For sure. Oh, Now we do see YangusKhan landing in Silvera to do a little bit of shopping.
Yeah, honestly, you like to see it. I don't feel like any of his characters are particularly well kitted yet. Again, we haven't had much opportunity. So it doesn't hurt to, come over, check out what might be around.
Yeah, especially on your way to ordeals.
Oh yeah. Don't know what exactly he's shopping for out of this set, but it looks like he's prepping for some archery. You've got a couple archers. Sid can arch.
Oh, Sid is a great archer. And mute arrows are especially good to have, especially knowing that you've got to face those Magus sisters at some point.
Oh, yeah.
But again, we do see both of our runners heading up ordeals. They both want to get this Tella and Cecil online. And speaking of needing mute arrows.
Yeah, great time to have mute arrows. We find Ashura here. Not an objective, but definitely a mage.
So the only question I have is, do we actually have a bow that is better than a crossbow?
That is a wonderful question. Next question. I have not seen any come up, and I don't know if our runners have done the shopping or had the fortune.
No. So, we have these great mute arrows, and I think they're going to do tons of damage on this Ashura with these stinky bows.
Yeah, I almost wonder with this party in this slot, is this a better... is it better to try for life-locking Ashura with physical attacks?
I think we're going to see potentially two different strategies, because we do see Fleury going ahead and using that Sid, leaning into that Sid. Meanwhile, we do see YangusKhan pulling out some Star Veils.
Yep, so, there we go. Getting a wall up on Ashura, so now all of her healing completely pointless. You just have to deal with the physical attacks that you'll do as a counter. And they're not coming out that hard, so pretty much made it free.
But Fleury has made quick work by doing a little bit of life locking and really leaning into that axe Sid in the middle slot there.
So let's see what's waiting at the back end of the bridge. It's
Oh.
Odin. It's
They required a boss.
It's an objective, and it's a brilliant spot for his Antetsuken.
Yes.
I'm sure Fleury is going to hope not to see it. You're going to hope to do the damage ahead of it, but if you can't, that's going to be a sight. I think we call that the whirling Antetsuken. Just go big spin around the world.
Oh, I love it. Yes, because you know what? In vanilla game, we just see Mylon Z here. But because we randomize our bosses, certain bosses here do very silly things in this back attack slot because it kind of breaks all sorts of boss movements.
Yep, the game did not reckon on having bosses on the right side of the screen. And programmers at Square so many decades ago didn't reckon on us. But Fleury did reckon on that lightning weakness that Odin has and knocks him down before he can do any attack.
But don't worry, chat. We have another opportunity to see the around the world. But for our runner's sake, maybe we don't wish that on them so far. I do bet that YangusKhan is wishing he had picked up those lit arrows when he was in Silvera as well.
Oh yeah, those were available. Yeah, but there's not a lot of fights where you're thinking I really need some lit arrows.
Right.
It's unfortunate that one of them is here and guarding the Baron key, as it turns out, as Fleury's in the changing room.
That creates a very interesting ordeal for our runners is whether or not they're going to go ahead and take that before heading underground, or going ahead and following through with going underground.
I think this is a tricky one because we know the first fight there is a Sparkle, and none of our required bosses are Sparkles. So
Yeah.
you're getting maybe one on Throne, maybe a total whiff. And then there's the basement throne, the Odin spot. That is feeling too difficult for this party as it currently stands. So I don't want to do that, but now I'm coming back to Baron, and it's like, at that point, sure, fighting the castle is going to be easier than going the hook route, but is it worth the time?
You know, and that's what some of these questions that have been brought up in both our blue moon seeds and our red moon seeds. And it's almost to the point of where, you know, there's so many different pathways and there are multiple right ways, because nothing is really a wrong choice. It's just a matter of when do you check and when is too soon and when is too late.
Yeah, and of course, this all, varies seed by seed. Sometimes you get ones that are just so linear and funnel the runners so tightly that it almost negates all of that, just by virtue of there not being any other options.
Yep. But we do see Fleury headed back down ordeals, and we're about to see kind of where he plans on going. Does he plan on trying to spark a sword out of Eblan right now?
Yeah, that's also a possibility. There was the option. We do start off with Siren. Do you pop that on ordeals, try and get a few levels? Fleury says no. We'll see if YangusKhan makes the same move. We do have plenty of the overworld left to do, so you can still obtain a few levels. That's not a terrible situation to be in.
And you know, we do have that ogre axe, so we do have some pretty decent equipment to go ahead and put on their Cecil. So I think he's very well. You know what? This is definitely not a place you want to sing King Queen Evelyn, let me tell you.
Yeah, it's so free. it's too free.
It's like silly free. That Thor rage did 8 damage.
That's really more Thor grump than rage. If it's single digit.
No rage there. No rage at all.
Thor disappointed.
We do see YangusKhan is also making his way down ordeals. So we'll see if he continues to match Fleury in path, or if we do see our first set of divergence today. But some divergence!
That's divergence. That's heading over to Eblan Castle, but Fleury is being accosted by a blue robe.
Oh!
It's the Baron said it. Here in the
It is. Well, hello,
this
Senator Crocodile.
This is necessary. This is an objective. This is also 5 fights with a lot of fish.
Yes. And we've used a lot of our Thor rages.
We have used a lot.
And our J items already. So this is going to be slow in some places.
Yeah. And of course, Crocodile loves to do a chain. We're going to see, I believe we see aqua worms. The ones that do like a tiny tidal wave. They want to grow up to be a big Leviathan someday.
Yeah. So this is it's a fun gauntlet, but it's also one that right now with not very many multi-target options might take a minute for Fleury. Oh, yeah, but we do see on YangusKhan he found a Dragoon armor and a strength ring so far. Those are really good gear for this party.
Also found one of the trap chests and reset out. He is not taking fights. He is looting for gear. And I honestly understand that right now. Try and get the stuff that's weighted a bit better here because of those trap chests. And maybe you don't have to do the fights at all, but if you do, you can kind of come in one by one with a specific plan to tackle them.
For sure, especially if we end up pulling an hourglass or something like that.
Yeah. Then we have powered up Artella, so he does have access to those spells that make a number of these fights easier.
But Tella is still slow.
Yeah, that's the downside. He's slow. He doesn't have much MP. These are the things that you got to work with. And that Bacchus wine is not for him. That's I was gonna say that's for the kids, but no. That's for the youngins, the 20-somethings.
Oh yeah, yep. The young adults.
Yes, the ones who are.
And Sid maybe.
Yeah. Sid's not young.
No, he's not. But he's limber. He's making good work of these electric fish over here.
Yep, that he is. Punching them apparently. I mean, he's an engineer. He's a mechanic. That's percussive maintenance.
Yeah.
On fish. Yangus has now found all 3 of those trap chests over in Eblan Castle, knows where they all are, knows where to come back to if he wants to tackle them.
And we'll get out of here with all the rest of the loot.
So a fair bit of time investment in doing this, but as you said, he has spiked some good finds. How much that will make up time and give him an advantage, we'll have to see. But this is a plan. He is committing to this bit, and there's a free curse string. So
free curse string. We don't even have to go back to Mysidia. Town of Anchors. Oh!
Ooh. Or Barren Town of Darkness, I guess.
That is very spicy.
The entire world has been opened up once you visit Barren.
Yeah.
Phrase that better, and it's a tourist slogan. I don't work in advertising. YangusKhan, though, first going and using that Baron key to visit the shops.
Okay. We're seeing a lightsaber there.
Yeah, it's very handy to have. The item shop that Fleury just visited, that was over from the beginnings. Got silk webs, life pots, good stuff to have there as well.
It seems like Baron is just our one-stop shop for most every Sork robes. Okay.
Yeah.
The only thing we don't have, a bow.
Yeah, this. Other than that, this has been a one-stop shop. Yeah. And YangusKhan heading into the inn, seeing the Eblan royalty. Yep, you're gonna want to take this. There's lots of value behind that free fight. But I guess we can say, with the benefit of hindsight, that coming back to Baron was the play.
For sure. Yes. And you know what? Most of our runners were probably going to at least come and peek Baron in, just because we do know that we're on boss hunts. So we're trying to get to as many boss locations as possible.
But yeah, it looks like that short bow that Rosa started with, that's it.
But I think Fleury just pulled an archer bow out of the water path from looting those 3 chests down there. So at least we've got a mid-tier bow.
That it's marginally better, and we'll take that right now. Considering how hard it's going to be to get the top tier stuff, yeah, you'll take marginally better.
Hello.
Do you still have Star Veils? Fleury does. Does Yangus? I think Yangus does.
Yeah, I think they started with more than 2.
Yeah, and I think he only used 2 in dealing with Ashura, so we'll be able to do the same kill that Fleury just did.
guide drum and a grimoire. Both very, very useful, especially in the overworld, trying to get through some of these boss fights. Would have been more useful if we had gotten those before we're doing Baron in.
Yeah. That's. We don't have a lot of boss slots left that are multi-target like that.
Nope. So we do see YangusKhan is making work through this gauntlet. Does not have that Rinia, so does not have the ability to do as many multi-target hits as Fleury was able to. So it might take a little bit longer, but we do see Tella gearing up to cast some spells. So hopefully he'll just continue to grind and make his way through this and get his second objective clicked off as well.
Yep, and as we have Mylon Z over at the throne, Yangus has been using that Earth Hammer I think he has on Sid, which item magic. You could use that to cast Quake. You would then be casting Quake with Sid, which is about as effective as it sounds. And a lot of these fish are actually flying, so it kind of it seems like, oh, that might be an option for AoE. Not really that useful here. But that is Mylon Z up and quickly down. Fire 3 handles that whole deal. See what Fleury gets for taking care of the throne.
So as this is our last check before heading down the hook route, do you go ahead and peek that Baron Throne boss before heading down?
I think I would save outside, run in, do a quick peek. Probably not going to fight it.
Especially because we've already seen all of our free bosses
yeah. There's very little there that I would feel comfortable taking. Oh, we get a pan before going underground. Also nice to have. But yeah, I think it's worth the information. I think Fleury is on that train of thought.
We have had 0 zonks, by the way.
That is true and scary. That is true and frightening. I mean, Adamant Rock is a kind of a zonk in that we don't care about it, but it is still a key item. We're at 6.
Yeah, this is sometimes more key items than you have in these seeds in total, and we have them all before heading down the hook route. Well.
You know, maybe
I think we
enough.
take this if we can get a hit off. Nope, we're too slow. We might be too slow.
Yeah, I think if you tweak your anchoring, I think you can handle it. Is it worth it? It's not something we need, but I think it's manageable. But yeah, Fleury's looking at that like, I don't have Water Hag on the tracker, not gonna deal with it.
Yep, and I definitely don't blame him for not taking the time to walk down there. We already have darkness, so the best that can do is be like a key, an earth crystal or a twin harp, and we might not even need an extra item like that. So.
So we have the doctor over in the Mist Cave. No worries there. Oh yeah, Fleury hasn't checked the waterfall and has to come up this way to pick up the hovercraft anyway. It's Dimps.
Now we do see some divergence here, because YangusKhan just got his darkness crystal, and now we see him heading to Mysidia.
No, Fleury is following along, doing the same. We've got darkness crystal. We've got Tella. Are we demonning this? Are we simply going to grind for the next 15 minutes?
I have a feeling the answer to this question is a resounding yes. Yes, we are. And as Chad is pointing out, Yangus sent his Rydia to the Tower of Wishes, so he can actually slingshot her in 6 and get her to nuke.
Mm-hmm.
Which is what I believe we will see Yangus do. Is go pick up his Rydia and let her do things.
There's the Rydia grab coming up. So yeah, we didn't have much in the way of black magic casters. We had Rydia, and that was it. That's all we're gonna need. Rydia will do all the work. I love seeds where Rydia gets to do the work, you know?
Yes. Oh, and you know what? We see a Porum pickup?
Is Yangus gonna go full mage on this setup? When we had a pretty split set of characters available.
Yeah, this is a really interesting question. Oh, we do.
Ooh. Or not. I feel like we're in a race situation.
Mm-hmm.
The phrase is always commit to your bet. If you're saying, I am going to take a Rydia, I'm going to take a Porum, I'm going to go all mages, you make that decision, you abide by it, and if it costs you the race, it costs you the race. But the more time you spend fiddling and like second guessing yourself, and this applies a lot more with location checks and key item checks.
Mm-hmm.
You're just making room for your opponent. In a big community kind of race, maybe that's more valuable there because of how many people there are. But in this kind of situation, you have one person that you're up against, and the mentality is also always just assume I'm behind.
But with this early darkness and some of this equipment we have and access to a curse ring and a dwarf with all of these anchors, there is a lot to kind of think about on the fly is who you want to choose. Like, you could use Sid as an anchor, but he could be an anchor with almost 5,000 HP. Like, there's so many different combinations specifically with this party and this setup right now.
Oh, yeah, like one of the main reasons that you don't see me in this or any of the other tournaments that we've done is that I cannot abide by that. I will second guess myself constantly, and I know it will cost me races.
So Fleury is rewarded with a rune axe, which he has chosen to walk out. Probably more for that little bit of experience boost than anything else.
Yeah, that's what it feels like to me.
But we do see YangusKhan making good use of that Soma drop, giving Tella an extra 10 MP, which doesn't sound like much, except for when weak costs 25 magic points. You can actually do 4 full weak casts before actually having to ether up.
Yep, that is Yangus summoning the giant, getting everything in position for that Demon Machine grind. Fleury, though, taking that hook, going into the Eblan Caves, going underground.
Yeah. Is he just shopping? Or are we going to see him continue to go down? Oh, well, there are hourglasses there. That is the exact shop that you want to see hourglasses in. Because hourglasses help with those Eblan trap chests, which so far neither of our runners have touched. And with a Cecil in their party, that is a very interesting choice.
Yeah, there's plenty of opportunities to spike, light sword, crystal sword, any sort of just game-breaking gear, or even just party making. The lightsaber is not game breaking, but you're damn happy to have it.
Okay, so we do see Fleury buying those hourglasses and then headed back up to Eblan, so we will get a look at these trap chests to see what we can pull out of, these Mad Ogre chests.
Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know if we saw YangusKhan doing a setup for the Day Machine Grinder. Is he just kind of figuring it out from here? Because we do have that whole manipulation of, resetting, running around Baron for a bit, getting your step count in line. Don't think I saw him set that up. Oh, yeah, could be doing it inside the giant itself. That is also. There are a few ways to do it. People have figured out how to break this game in so many ways.
Right?
We got spreadsheets, y'all. We got so many spreadsheets.
We love spreadsheets in free enterprise.
Let's not go that far. But we have spreadsheets.
Okay, sorry. Some of us love spreadsheets. I love spreadsheets. Spreadsheets, flowcharts. We love our charts here. If you are listening and you love charts, come join us in free enterprise. There's so much data to unpack. It's so great. Right now, the question on our mind is, will Tella get this stone cast off?
Eventually, one would hope. Actually, yeah, if Steelman gets charmed.
Oh, it's Fire 3, just kidding. To be fair, I think we've already used an hourglass, so it's fine.
But again, that's what we're saying about Tella being the utility character. He can do a lot of those things. Oh, yeah, Siren. He can do the big bada boom. He can do the enemy lockdown. Whatever kind of magic stuff you need. Eventually, he'll do it. Eventually. Yeah, I mean, it takes a moment, but eventually.
It might be like tomorrow, but eventually. Alright, while Fleury is exploring the Eblan Castle, we do see YangusKhan, who has hopefully found his D-Money fight, and not a horseman fight, but we will find out momentarily.
I don't know if I would be able to tell from what we've been able to see. I think we just have to knock these beamers out.
Yep, knock the beamers out and just hope that the D-Money shows up and not a horseman.
Yeah, I mean, if you know the manipulations well, and I think our tracker NG Dave does, then you would know, like, okay, this is going to be the one because I've taken this prep step and this prep step, so I know we're good. Again, if I were as individually more attuned to these things, I'd probably be racing and not commentating.
Meanwhile, on Fleury's side, we do see him pick up a crystal arm, gauntlet arm. Yep, here's my arm in the chest here. A crystal gauntlet, and but he did, more importantly, use the life glitch on those Mad Ogres and just kind of beef up his XP. So what it is telling me is that he is going to probably not do a D-Money grind and just go ahead and dive the route.
So I think we're going to see two different philosophies on approaching the seed. Both of our runners have total overworld access. You can get to any check that you have the key item for. So Fleury is able to just go and tackle objectives. Yangus looking at this like, I need to grind and then go, so that as I go through and do all those objectives, they're going to fall one after another, no sweat. So is it the upfront investment, or is it the grind as you go that's going to pan out across these two? And I love seeing the difference here.
Yes. And that is just a white spear. Which is a great spear, but it's not the Cecil weapon that we were looking for.
Mm-hmm. And of course, Fleury doesn't have Kane in his party anymore, so.
Oh, yeah, and you know what?
Yeah.
Without an edge, that is just some money. Can't even call it a dart. It's just money.
Yeah. I mean, if we do bring Kane back and slingshot him, then okay, he's got a really good weapon, but it's still not an Avenger sword or even a defense sword. Those are your chef's kiss, top tier.
Oh well. Fleury has proven me wrong on comms. It looks like he might also be setting up for a D-Machine grind.
That's what it's looking like. Yeah.
Or taking advantage of that white spear.
There's so much that you could do. We as commentators, we're like, we don't even know what's going on anymore.
Nope, I've got nothing. It could be either way.
Could even be a boat. A whale's kind of like a boat. Yeah, sure.
Except for it's not a whale, it's a walrus. Fight me on it.
It's a spaceship.
It totally looks like a walrus.
Nope. Shrimp. Let's go with shrimp.
All right, well, we are headed to the giant. We are about to have dueling D-money grinds for maybe a minute, because I'm pretty sure YangusKhan is about done with his grind.
Of course, our runner's far from that 10 key items that really accelerates this, but consistent life glitches, that cuts your time in half right away.
Yep. And because especially with our Zerkers, we don't have to get them slingshot levels to make them viable. So after the 6x6, which is what I am assuming Yangus will do, that will be enough to slingshot our Rydia up to Nuke. And then that should put the rest of our party in the low 40s?
I think so. I'm not positive what levels they're at right at this moment. But either way, it'll be plenty for getting through the hook route, and then clearing out the rest of the objectives. And then clearing out the rest of the objectives will get us where we need to go for Zeromus. So this actually should be all the grinding that we need to see.
Yes, and as Chad is pointing out, I love the use of the rod. It's not every day that you see the rod be put to effective use.
Yeah, that's very, very early game item magic available, but it's handy in this situation where you just need to tap something.
Well, vanilla elements.
Okay, that is actually nice for us to know. Not just one that's a reset to the step count that Fleury has done, but it also means that at most there is one boss on the giant that could be valuable.
Yes.
We haven't looked anywhere and ruled out an objective boss thus far, so you're inclined to never come back.
What I love is when runners are in mirrored D-money grinds on screen. But that is Yangus's 6th D-machine, so we might actually see him get out of this fight right as our first D-money is showing up on Fleury's side.
Yep, that's a week on the Searcher. That is the end of the road. Yangus will take this XP and leave.
Oh, 7th. Sorry. What? Tracker Dave said 7th. So we are going to see a little bit more experience inflection into our into our big boys with sticks.
Yep, 51 levels on Rydia. Love to see
Yahoo!
it. That's 605,000 XP as the baseline.
And you know what? Because we have that cursed ring, Yangus is also allowing Tella to get levels.
Mm-hmm.
So we didn't even have to kill him off.
Yeah, this is honestly pretty solid D-money grind, and a very, very long spell learning list. Which is exactly what, and you even get some rebates. You get an hourglass rebate.
We love rebates. It's the best kind of shopping.
This is some extreme couponing that's happening here.
So we will probably also see Yangus go ahead and peek this spot. Whether or not he decides to take it, just to go ahead and for peace of mind, maybe get to the CPU.
Yeah.
Because elements here is not it's not super terrible.
It's far from the worst. Again, that is the vanilla spot, so it is kind of designed around it. If you have a mage-centric party, it is actually pretty easy. You can set up a lot of reflect work and kind of cut it in half, more or less. Or if you just have the right kind of bruisers to skip past Rubicante quickly enough, you never have to worry about that phase, and that's the worst part of the whole fight.
Yes, for sure. That Fire 3 really gives your party just a real bad day.
Oh yeah. So Fleury actually making solid use of that Ashra summon to do the healing work, free up Rosa and Tella to do other jobs.
Meanwhile, Yangus Peaks says, no thanks, and is going to walk out of the giant and head down the hook route.
Yep, so this is going to be a seed where we have a pretty late hook route, in the 50s. And for the Red Moon flag set, when you see that, you're either thinking, man, that was a rough overworld, or did we have to go underground at all? Which we did. We're gonna have to go underground. But yeah,
I mean,
it's a lot of things we do.
5 bosses on the moon.
There are 5 bosses on the moon. Are they the 5 that we need? I feel like we have already in this tournament had at least one race that did not require underground at all. I feel like that's happened, and if it hasn't, it probably will by the time we're done.
I feel like that's happened, but that's because there were like 4 or 5 on Earth, not 4 or 5 on the moon.
Fair.
Question from chat, because we got darkness on the overworld, the magma key has to be underground, because there can be, in a force hook seed, you cannot have access to magma key before going down the hook route.
So still plenty of key items that can be on the moon, that can lead to chains and all of that, but the magma key specifically is down where the magma is, which should not surprise, but there you go.
But we do see Yangus going ahead now and doing this Baron check, because he did not do it when he checked Baron in. He went straight to do his D-money grind.
Mm-hmm.
But this will take he will make very quick work of these bosses, even though we know that none of these in Baron are actually required.
Yeah, but Wyvern will not be scary.
No.
Which is a relief to encounter Wyvern and not be scared by it.
But he will be rewarded with the pan, so when he does make his way underground, he will have full access to everything except for the Luca Cave boss.
And it looks like Fleury is done with his D-machine grind. There goes the Searcher. 522 on the XP count. So yeah, that's one fewer than Yangus looks like. Ready? Just getting 30 levels. Just 30.
But still going to nuke.
Yep. Kane, meanwhile, gets 43 levels.
Let's go.
That is... Kane has bought the level skip. Just immediately level 53.
Aww. Our restreamer Pancras has noted that there was no rebate for Fleury. It got lost.
Aww. I mean, that's always the problem. Like, this is why I don't like rebate schemes. Just give me a discount in the store.
Right?
Like, come on.
Then it requires you to like mail something and use a stamp.
I don't have envelopes. It's 2022.
No. Like, who uses stamps anymore?
Or maybe they're advanced enough. Maybe they have you do the rebate on their website. That doesn't work in Firefox.
It sounds like you have a story about that.
It is not for this stream.
Fair enough. We do see Fleury deciding to take on this element, going ahead to peak that second CPU spot while he's on the moon. I definitely don't hate this play, especially because, like we said, this element spot with vanilla elements is not a terrible fight at this point.
I like this idea of, have Cecil just be a paladin, be in that cover pose, but also be invulnerable to physical attack thanks to Blink. Although he doesn't seem to be covering. There's a portion of this job, Cecil, that you're supposed to be doing.
Mylon Z is just cursing at us right now.
Mm-hmm. Very
upset. Very upset.
Yeah, just mouth of a sailor, this guy.
So I assume with this free water hag down here, we will also see YangusKhan take this fight. We'll probably decide not to keep the rune axe, is my guess, but you know what? The runners tonight have been surprising me left and right, so what do I know?
Fleury is actually 20k through this fight, doing it all with Reflected Fire 3s, so we'll be skipping any kind of phase change whatsoever. Not just, skipping past the Valvelus or the Kanazo parts. Yep. So this is what we were saying about, a good mage party can make this a lot faster. You skip any of that scripting refill stuff if you can just do this reflected damage.
Well, once again, commentator J-Mac has been proven wrong.
Oh, yep, Yang is walking it out.
But with the Magus sisters still on the table, and we don't have a holy sword for Cecil, I can definitely see the appeal of walking out a guaranteed damage dealer to one of our bosses on our list. So.
Mm-hmm. But Fleury, meanwhile, is Cecil getting 2 tapped from physical attacks. It's 1,200 apiece, and it's now down to 2 mages to finish this out. But reflecting nukes, reflecting fire 3s, might get through soon.
And spreadsheets to the rescue. Chat is pointing out that this first form of elements has 57k of hit points, which I did not know.
So Fleury is more than halfway through. We saw 3. What's 3? I saw 2. Okay. So actually, yeah, we're pretty close to being done, but we've got to survive these physical hits.
And you know, I don't think I've ever actually seen reflect struts on this particular spot, so this is a new experience for me.
We have got to be just a few thousand away. As Yangus finds the doctor, leaves the doctor alone.
Yep, I imagine we'll also be headed to double check that waterfall before heading down the hook route.
But yeah, that is Flurry through. So another big splash of XP on just Rydia and Rosa. Not quite as big, but still big.
Yeah.
But yeah,
we're extra.
Yeah, we're now really hoping if you're Flurry, if you're in Team Flurry, you're really hoping for a required boss behind that elements fight, just to make up that time.
Yeah, that was a very long fight. So for Flurry's sake, we hope it pays off.
Yangus goes down into the Eblan caves, where we never actually saw what the bosses were, did we?
Nope.
We never actually went.
At all.
Yeah. We're gonna get that information pretty soon. Flurry finds Val.
Oh.
That's scary and valuable.
Well.
And Flurry wants none of it. Maybe? Or we're going to Last Arm.
You know what? Runners are just gonna surprise us all night.
I guess so. Oh, there's Mega Sisters down on the hook route.
Well, that's a nice bow. Yay, we have a bow!
An Artemis bow, no less. So yeah, this... Solaris is right. This is a nasty spot for Valis. This is one of the ruder ones. Plenty of stats here are high. We have canes, so we can break her out of the tornado. And I feel like this is a spot where we're going to need to do that in order to do meaningful damage. That, that flips her script a little bit. She will start doing a lot more physical attacks. So now you have to deal with healing through all of that. But you're able to do physical damage in return.
Yep. And with Rydia having Nuke, as long as we can break her of her tornado form, we can cast those heavy-hitting spells quickly once she is out of tornado.
And either our party is just really evasive, or the magic is just not landing here. That was a full magic cycle that didn't do anything. Interesting.
Meanwhile, we do see that our King Queen Eblan spot tonight has a Leviathan, which is not the required boss, but is very easily to take down. And then we will probably see a quick equip of that rune axe we saved just for this Maga Sisters fight here.
Yep, there's no need to run it back and take a save.
Not after a full D machine grind, no.
No. Yangus has the levels, has the gear, has the confidence.
Chat does bring up a good question. Do we believe in Cool Guy Kane?
How cool is this cane?
Not even 1,000 damage cool.
Flurry's strat has been to just leave Valveless in tornado form this whole time, and deal with the constant rays and weaks that she's gonna send out.
Which is definitely not a terrible strategy.
Yeah. I mean, it's manageable.
Yep, just long, but you know what? This is a required boss, and this is definitely something that we know Yangus will not come back and check.
No, that's very true. Instead, at 1 hour and 2 minutes, he is taking that pitfall and getting underground.
Hey!
And he's the first one to do so. And we find that's Baron Guards.
Baron Guards,
up there. So we've had Officer Soldier already.
Now becomes the choices. Do we go ahead and do Tower with that Tower key burning in our pocket? Do we see Yangus head to Dwarf Castle to knock out 2 boss checks that we don't know yet? Or do we see him head straight down that Fey March and go ahead and take whatever is down there?
It's a good question. Looks like it's going to be the Tower first. But Flurry has gotten through that Val fight. That was another huge dish of XP coming onto his party, and that is number 3 on his list. He'll have 4 by the time he takes that pitfall.
And for convenience sake, he is right here and can just hop on out and hop in the hovercraft. So this has been a very interesting race because we are over an hour getting underground, but we have already done so many checks and done our full grind. And you have to be thinking as a runner, do you think your opponent has done the same thing you have? Or do you think they've been, playing around underground?
I think the D-Machine grind is obvious enough with this seed and the configuration of everything that's happened. I would expect my opponent has done the D-Machine grind. Unless I know something specific about them that would make me think otherwise.
Yep, I think I'd have to agree. And that's why we probably will see neither of our runners go into any sort of panic mode. Just because they are probably assuming that that their opponent has done the same thing, and so they're probably about the same place.
Now, if that wasn't an objective boss behind Elements, I think we would see that from Flurry, because that was a fair amount of time invested in the Elements fight. But we also wouldn't have seen him go and actually do the fight behind it. So, I don't know. I don't know how much of a panic it would be, but you would feel a little behind having taken that.
But with the caliber of runners that we have in this race tonight, both of them are very efficient at their routing choices. So I think their confidence is going to continue to guide their efficient routing. We're going to see a lot of really of all of these underground checks being checked very, very quickly, I think.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately that is the benefit of that early grind. As you get to later spots, you just whatever, just knock it out. You don't have to strategize as much. I'm all for not having a strategy and just hitting things.
Yes, most definitely. Love to see that. It is going to be interesting to see which fights are our runners take on versus which ones they start fading, because we still have 1, 2, 3, 4 key items that lead to other boss checks that we are still missing. So the name of the game is, when do our runners turn into purely face check mode? And is it before they get to the moon? So we do see that the top of tower does give us the rat tail, which does lead to another key item check. So it is not, even though that wasn't a required boss, it is not an empty check. We are about to see what this tower key yields.
Another
Well,
boss check, I guess.
That is honestly exactly what you want to find right now. Because that gives you access to everything underground. So every check that is underground, with the exception of the forge, which is not a check, just a cool thing, we have access to. So we can make very, very quick work of everything underground and then never have to come back.
Yeah, at that point, you know, we're back to the routing questions. What checks are going to be worth the time? Seal Cave is a long dive for a single boss check. The Feymarch fight's not as bad, and Dwarf Castle, honestly, on this flag set with these objectives, I see why everyone, you know, heads straight for that. I think Fleury is even heading straight for that first.
Yep. So we do see a little bit of a divergent choice, probably because that top of tower was not required. And then meanwhile, now we see Yangus headed down the Feymarch to go and pick up his Feymarch freebie, as well as double check those bosses.
But yeah, we have Baigen. We don't know who the second fight is going to be. We haven't gone up to Zot. But I think the factor here, you know, even having the Luca key, that's in particular is a long check. If we're going to the moon, you might be inclined to say, I'm going to do the relatively fast stuff underground, get myself to, if I can get myself to 6 boxes, forget the Seal Cave, I'm going to the moon. I'm making the play that there's something on that lunar subterrane that I need. And whatever it is, that's the one I'm committing to, even if it sucks, which it well could.
For sure. But, you know, without a pass in hand right now, I have a feeling our runners would be inclined to not leave a boss check unchecked right now, just because they don't want to have to come down here if the moon is a zone and then rewalk the LST.
And I think that's going to be more of a factor for Yangus, because he has left that second fight on the Giant unknown and untouched. And we know that is going to be the one that you whiff on. I don't think Yangus is going to fight Valvelus at all. So he's going to have to clean everything out. Oh, hey, it's Paladin.
Not a required boss, but it's this commentator's favorite boss. But unfortunately, with that nuke cast, that makes me very sad. Because we do not get any slow sounds today. So sorry, chat. I know you look forward to it.
Honestly, I just like Paladin because that's like, it's a distinctive kind of name. And I know it gets translated just like, you know, White Dragon or Lunar Dragon in you know, other later translations, but Paladin.
Yeah.
That's it feels like a proper. Oh hey, there's Golbez.
Oh hey, Golbez.
Oh hey, Legend Sword. We can forge. Huzzah!
We can forge. Everything is available to us on the underground now. And you know what I've kind of forgot about, because this is a Red Moon seed. There is a key item in the Luca Cave.
That is true, yeah.
So that might actually push our runners to just go ahead and check that. Make sure that it's not a Twin Harp, a package, an Earth Crystal, especially with those 2 boss checks.
Yeah.
And then get that extra boss check before leaving the underground. So then they really, like, now our runners for real do not have to ever come back down here at all.
Yeah, if you're going into the sealed cave, you're kind of hoping that it is one of those, just to give you further value from it. And if you're skipping it, you're really hoping those are on the moon.
Yes. So we do see some Venom strats coming out on YangusKhan's side to allow for his party to not be paralyzed. Thankfully, Golbez, you know what, is just so nice and leaves the power couple standing.
Yangus made good use of poison coming in, so gets the Star Veils up very quickly as a result. This is going to be a pretty straightforward fight, honestly. You do love to see it.
I'm not really sure what game chat is thinking that we're playing, but it's not Lufia 2.
I mean, we haven't got the Twin Harp. You never know.
Oh, you know what? You are so right.
Rise of the Sinistrals is all up in there. Should I play the Lufia games? Chat, should we play Lufia? Not right now, but like at some point in the future. We're kind of busy like commentating and watching a race, but you know, after that.
Alright, Yangus brought up his Rydia so that Rydia could cast Nuke, making this fight a little bit faster. We do see that his veil has fallen off of Rosa because Rosa just took a huge lit 3 to the face. Still survived because grinding. But that was enough to get through this Golbez fight, so Yangus will have his 4th boss complete.
And picks up a really good cane weapon. The best cane weapon?
Is Avenger better? Cane? I don't remember.
Look, White Spear, Avenger, Defense Sword, give me any of those and I'm happy.
Yep, that is true. Definitely happy. Oh,
But,
yep. Getting that Luca check now. Making really good flight paths in the underground so that we don't have to double back and fly over any square.
and not taking on the other Feymarch fight in the hopes of spiking a key item. So Yangus a little bit in that face check mode at this point.
Yep, this is not a key item that gates another boss check, and it is not a boss. We will see him quickly reset out. But if this is required, we still have that Tella for an easy warp. As well as Rydia. We have 2 warpers. But even though we do have Rydia, I will still warp out with Tella because habit.
Yeah, that's fair. It's very easy to remember when Tella has warp. It's you've done Mount Ordeals.
Yep.
Rydia, like you need to know numbers. You need to keep track of their levels. Tella is just Tella is Boolean. Everyone else is an int, and Booleans are simple.
Yeah. Yep, for sure. Not to mention the fact that by now I would have already moved Nuke on Rydia, so
yeah.
I don't want to like have to replace it with Ward. both runners are now headed down Luca. Oh, that is an Earth Crystal. So we will most definitely see both of our runners take on this boss, no matter who it is, and walk this Earth Crystal out.
Yep, that is too much value to leave behind. That is too much value to leave behind.
Good job, Luca. Good job on Luca. And so much required stuff here.
So the two fights up in Tower of Zot could well be Evil Wall and CPU, meaning that we didn't actually need the Earth Crystal. We need to pick it up, but we don't need it. Because obviously, like, we don't. The first fight is open no matter what, and you can do Golbez and Val and yada yada. Fair shot at this point that we don't need the moon at all.
No. And on these seeds, even though the moon is, statistically a great, a place that you would think you're gonna find 1 out of the 30 bosses, it's not always the case that one of them is actually gonna be up in one of those 6 spots.
And especially when we had the Darkness Crystal so early.
Yeah.
But yeah, we may well not have to dip the surface at all. We would have to find a pass for that, but nothing ruling that out. But this will leave both of our runners at the 5 of 7 mark in terms of bosses. The main difference, Fleury has that Valveless from the second fight in the Giant. Yangus has found Golbez at the bottom of the Fey March. Fleury has not gone there yet.
But I imagine that will be his next stop. So I think Fleury will leave Underground needing just 1 boss, whereas YangusKhan will be needing 2.
Yep. Now, if we do get that double spike at Zot, that honestly is a strength for Yangus. 'Cause that'll be all his work done. Whereas Fleury, as I'm saying that, I'm like, no. If you see the first one, you just walk back out.
You just walk out.
So yeah, I don't know that will be much of a time save on Yangus' side.
I mean, it will be in the fact that he doesn't have to go to the moon to.
Well, yeah, neither of them will. I suppose.
Yeah. But yeah, so this has been a very spicy race, and this will continue to be a very spicy race. But I think at this moment in time, advantage is to Fleury, just with having that Val done at the CPU spot.
Yeah, but either way, cheers to our race streamer Pangraz, who rolled this seed and has produced this very interesting path through. And cheers to Injadave, who's taking care of the tracking, jumping in to push these buttons as warranted. And thank you to J-Mac joining me here in the booth.
Yes, and a big thank you to Hupfin, who is a very entertaining person to be sitting up here with today. This has been a lot of fun so far, and we are still in for a little bit more fun.
Yeah, I mean, the two runners, Fleury and Yangus, they're giving us a good race to commentate over. So if you are not following these two runners, of course, give them follows, give them your love.
Oh, but Fleury faded the Fey March.
Yeah, entirely skipping. Not going to miss out much in terms of the key item location there, although I will point out that Yangus is now at 10 key items. Fleury is at 10, just with a slightly different route, so no, fair play there.
Oh, and Fleury faded the Forge right now.
Yeah.
Decided, I don't need no stinky power weapon, because it's probably just scrap metal.
I mean, statistically, it's going to be something you don't really care about. We're not doing hero forges. Oh, are we going to raid the treasury?
We are! It's chat's favorite game. We are going to try and spike a crystal sword.
Excal, Leviathan, another Curse Ring, Crystal Armor, not as good as it sounds, Heroine Robe.
Black Belt, useful.
Yeah, useful out of 10.
I mean, Excal out of 10 at this point.
Yeah, fair.
Who needs a forge when you found an Excal? And we have that defense sword.
Yes, our physical fighters are actually pretty well kitted out. We've got decent enough Black Mage rods, no Stardust rod, but still pretty good ones that we've come across.
So yeah, this has become very, very spicy because Fleury is chasing the Earth Crystal and has faded the Golbez in Feymarch.
Now, if this isn't a 1-2 punch, does Fleury go back down to the Feymarch or go up to the moon?
You know, I'm not going to make a prediction because all of my predictions so far tonight have been incorrect.
So predict what you don't think will happen, and then what you think will happen will actually be what happens. Reverse psychology on this.
Okay, well... you know, I think we're sticking to Feymarch.
Well, it's a required boss up here, the first slot of the Tower of Zot.
Okay, well... Had Fleury done Golbez first, he would be in go mode right now.
Mm-hmm.
But we are going to get a look at our forge. Woo!
A flaming hammer.
Too bad that neither party took Sid.
Yeah, shame about that. But hey, crystal rings, more white spears if you needed a plural of those. You don't need a plural.
But you know what I would be doing right now? I would be
selling
going to
the fire
pick up
hammer?
that. No, I would be going to pick up that Sid and drop that Tella. We don't need Tella. Sid can be an anchor and do damage with the fiery hammer at base level.
Yeah.
Or whatever experience he's gonna gain.
Yeah, let him gain levels. We have that curse ring.
Yeah, but like after grind, normally you don't even think about changing your party after grind. I'm changing my party because the fiery hammer is just too much fun. No, Yangus, no. But fiery hammer, but fiery hammer.
But nope, gotta follow that earth crystal, which will get him up to 6 of 7 as well.
And to answer a question in chat, no, Fleury did not peek Feymarch. He did not head anywhere into the Feymarch. Does not know that Golbez is sitting there for go mode.
Will a Feymarch be utterly unnecessary? We are about to see. Pancras claiming has done the piggy divination. This cannot be evil wall. And no, it's Mylon and friends. So both of our runners are going to come out of this tower one short. Technically, we didn't need the Earth Crystal.
Technically, we did not. No.
It's a much better route to do the one that gives you the Earth Crystal, but technically, didn't need it.
But you know, we did need that antlion, so we were gonna have that Earth Crystal in hand.
Well, that's what I'm saying. You don't do Luca Cave. You now have to do Feymarch and second slot of Giants.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't have to. You're going to. But you don't have to. But you're going to. And Fleury is through the rest of the tower. Get some kind of key item out of this, or something.
Yay, we can get underground now.
We're just gonna keep saying that with steadily decreasing levels of enthusiasm as this tournament goes on. It's just gonna be a competition to like who can speak in the flattest tone of voice.
That's going to be a really steep competition because we have a lot of commentators who love saying that line with the least amount of emotion possible.
We've got a great crowd that does comms and great crowds to do the restream. Like everyone, working behind the scenes.
For sure, we definitely have one of the best communities out there.
Certainly one of the most aggressive when it comes to memeing on things.
Memes? No, we don't meme here. No memes allowed.
We did a fake wacky flag in the objectives to start. That's me. We memed. We didn't even want to, and we did it.
But Fleury does remember that he did not check the Fey March, will be rewarded with a crystal from beating Golbez. And we'll get his final boss here. And then he can just go straight up to the LST, walk down, and fight Z.
Yeah, so, as we were saying, Fleury definitely has the advantage here at this point. Yang is likely to go straight from here to the Lunar Subterrane. Fair chance that Evil Wall is on that path. And we certainly hope for his sake that it is. Otherwise, there's a lot of diving and maneuvering that you're going to have to do to find that fight.
But while it now seems that Fleury is back ahead, depending on where this Evil Wall is, we could end up with a very, very spicy close finish.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
Because either way, Fleury is headed up to the LST and walking down. Also, yay, Yangus can get underground now.
We did it once, we don't have to do it twice.
I mean, listen, I didn't even get to do my Pale Dim do, so I'm going to say it twice
okay,
tonight.
that's fair, that's fair. Fleury running a different kind of piggy meta against this Golbez.
The first piggy meta, if you will.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, that rat tail is a really good turn-in. Getting an Avenger Sword, we'd love to see that.
Yep. And I imagine that we will see Yangus head to Sheila to do that Sheila check. And then I guess we'll decide based on if he gets a Twin Heart there or not, what he's going to do next.
Honestly, if I'm in Yangus' situation, 6 out of 7, I'm going to the moon.
That is probably what I would do too, but you know what? Again, everything I've said tonight has been mostly incorrect.
Fair enough. So to catch up folks up on the boss difference, Val was the CPU spot, second spot at Giant. Both of our runners went to Giant. Do the D machine grind as you do. First fight in there at the element spot was elements. Yangus said no thank you. Fleury said I'll take it. And went on to find the Valveless and take care of that fight as well.
Also, side note, Sheila has been hoarding hats. So, good news for Adamant Cup fans, bad news for YangusKhan. Hat.
Yep. Sheila's haberdashery is in good swing. Full swing is the phrase you would actually use, but words happen. Really, I was just focused on the haberdashery part of that sentence. Everything else was auxiliary to that.
That was the most important part. You were correct. But we do see Yangus hitting that crystal, heading up to the moon. We'll probably go straight to Cave Value and peek that boss before heading down the LST. Now, the big question is, where is Evil?
At this point, there's only 2 locations that will not make this plan work out. If it's behind the harp or the package, that's bad news for Yangus. Anywhere else, he will eventually find it as he goes down the subterrane. But how long that takes is going to be a huge factor, as Fleury has obtained his crystal in an hour 31. And I dare say has the levels to be looking at the Zemus fight already.
Yep, doesn't need much. We'll probably just head right there. So now it is a race against the walk down the LST.
That's the doll up there, brother.
1 spot down, 5 to go. And for those who may just be tuning in, this race has been close. Fleury is in go mode, but Yangus has been there every step of the way and has not made any incorrect choices. So now it is just a matter of finding that 7th boss for Yangus on the moon and how fast he can find it.
So we saw Yangus landing outside the lunar subterranean at about 132, I would say. So we'll compare that to when Fleury makes the same landing, and that's as much of a margin as he has to work with. It doesn't look like it's going to be much.
Nope. Unless this is exactly Evil Wall, it looks like advantage is going to stay in Fleury's corner tonight.
Yeah, Yangus has a little less than a minute. And that's a Demus fight, and he's going to take it. There is an item behind this.
Oh, that is right.
Yeah.
This is now 2 key item checks. I don't blame Yangus for taking this, but I don't know. In face check mode, like it's just either decision is either going to be the right decision or the wrong decision.
Yeah, it's really tough to tell what the right plan is here. I feel like, again, commit to your bit is the mentality.
Oh.
Yeah, Demus is holy, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't cast white on Demus.
No. But you know, I can't say that I've never done the same thing, so...
I mean, again, the developers of Final Fantasy IV did not reckon on us.
No,
they did not figure we would be bringing level 50 Rosa with white against Demus.
But you know, I know you've heard of Poison Walk, but have you heard of Piggy Walk? Because that's what we're getting on Fleury's side right now.
Yeah. Take a quick save down here. I dare say Fleury's party is in a good enough position. You're not too worried about things going sideways, but you're in the waning bracket. This is an elimination match. Maybe those little savies that don't cost you a whole lot of time are worth it.
Yeah, because whoever loses this race is out of the Red Moon bracket. So this does becomes the choices that you will live or die by in this tournament.
And as Yangus gets the pink tail, Fleury is now down in the crystal core, so I guess we should maybe talk about the thing.
The thing!
The thing, yeah.
The nap thing, yeah.
It's been a day. We were talking about it before the stream got going. It's been a day. But, you know, however tired you are, Zemus is always willing to do a little bit of cosplay. So,
yeah, you know what? There's always time for cosplay.
Yeah, so, you know what? We appreciate that. So we're going to see that. And then, you know, we're going to say... I don't have a good permutation on all of our usual lines to complete this thought. So let's just kick a butt, shall we?
In the name of the moon, something something but something something cute, something something hat.
We'll fix it in post.
Ooh, can butt be suplexed? That is a good question.
Yeah, is the Phantom Trade is one of the sprites, I think, actually.
But does anyone actually have suplex in her?
No, no.
Oh man.
Has Butt played Lufia too?
Oh.
It's Madeline Celeste might have played Lufia too, and therefore by extension Madeline would as well.
Yeah, and by extension, maybe they do have a Gorgon Rock.
Possible. Canada is magical like that. I don't fully understand it. DKC found for Yangus, so no evil wall yet. Really good nuke target though, knocking down Tella. And there's our wall.
There it is.
So Yangus just needs to tear this wall down as quickly as he possibly can to get into the Zeromus fight, but Fleury is holding it pretty stably thus far, getting our first nerf Big Bang in.
And with this X-Cal Cecil and this White Spear, did I see that? Yep, White Spear, Kane, and nukes on Rydia. I just have a feeling that this C fight is going to go about as smooth as you can hope for.
Yeah, I mean, this is basically the vanilla party if your Edge didn't get the ninja shirt and thus spent most of the fight on the floor. Which, I mean, that happens. That ninja shirt, good magic resist. You kind of want that here.
Mm-hmm. We do see Yangus making about as quick work on that evil wall as we possibly can, so he will also be headed straight down to his Z fight. But we do see Fleury doing about 7k around physical attack plus these reflected nukes.
Oh, and the wall gave us Bahamut, which I mean that's excellent for Iridia, except on the Zeromus fight when you don't want to use summons.
Yeah, no, it's a little too late, but thank you, Evo Wall. All of this damage on Fleury's side between... Oh, there it is. Just like that. No rocks, no nothing. Get your GGs out in chat. Fleury has finished this race and will be moving on in the Waning bracket.
Yep, see if we get the official time in just a moment. It's 1:39 something. And we'll see if we get Fleury in for a quick chat.
But what a race this was.
Oh, absolutely. Plenty of divergence happening and plenty of differences that wound up being pretty meaningful. That valve list was a pretty big factor.
And that in our ears means we have been joined by Fleury. GG's on this great race.
Thank you.
You have won your Waning bracket match and are still alive in the red bracket tournament. How do you feel?
Pretty fortunate. To be perfectly honest, I had a lot. I felt like I had a lot of silly mistakes that race that I need to clean up, but got out of the building with a win. So that's really all you can ask for. And like everyone on this bracket is concerning. So yeah, it's one of those situations where I try not to mentally let myself get down if I make a bad decision or a bad you know, oh look, dancing daggers still on Kane sort of thing. But it's a little tough. So very very happy to have gotten the win. Still have plenty of practice to do, and yeah.
Of course.
So it feels like the Valveless check and pulling that was a linchpin in this run. Did that feel like one of those spots that you were a little concerned about that you were just describing, or did you come out of that feeling like, okay, maybe I've got an edge here?
I was actually concerned about the opposite. So mistakes that I probably shouldn't be making after 1,200 free enterprise seeds. Understanding how the refill mechanic works, no, it's not half the 52,000, it's the full 52,000 at the element spot. So I should have walked away. But I didn't. I got through it. But the thing about taking like an off-the-cuff spot is that you need the delta between boss 7 and boss 8 to be very low. It was not. Evil Wall was on the moon from what I heard, which is exactly where I was going to go next. So I feel like that was actually a net negative taking that, and that was my worry. Like, here come all the key items early. I still don't have a good feel as to whether or not like the early grind is the answer. Like, it seemed like it, but man, y'all saw how the key items came hot and heavy once we got underground. It's like, well, 10, that's no problem here.
And I mean, we were having that same debate in the booth as well. So like, we're not even sure if that was the right play or not. Is what you both wound up doing. But would it have been better to hold out? I don't know.
Who knows? But you both did it, and so even though you both were underground over an hour on this seed, but you had done so much already, and we're at full Z levels. So, I mean, you both did it. I don't know what would have happened if one of you did and one of you didn't. It looked like for a minute that you were like thinking about not doing the D-Money grind. You teased us a lot for a while.
Yeah, I sure was. And then I'd convinced whether or not to. So I was thinking about how to get Rydia into a position where I could slingshot her. I didn't want to do 11 plus 11. So when that water hag showed up in the Odin spot, I was like, okay, that's the answer. Like, Castle Eblan is kind of meta, I think, on Cecil starts. So between that and the experience we'll get from a free water hag, easy to get 5 levels. We'll also slingshot Kane. Okay, but I was kind of working through my head how to do that. Also, a little concerned with being out of star fails, like 20 minutes into the seed, and knowing that Gomez is on the table. Like, oh, come on! And sure enough, ha ha ha, there he is. But yeah, that was kind of what I was going through my head. I was thinking how to get Rydia in a place where I can slingshot her.
I mean, at least you held on to them past that Ashura fight. Just did that through life locking. Otherwise, you would have been down even further on that front.
Yeah, for sure.
And you know what? Speaking of that Golbez, when you went to the Luca Cave and got that Earth Crystal and then decided to chase it without peeking Feymarch, do you know how stressed we all were watching you do that?
I mean, so let me think. I was still 2 bosses away at that point, right?
Yep.
So that what's usually going through my mind is like, what's gonna be my next move? I was going to pull the Rex banner and check Zot 1 regardless. If I didn't get Earth Crystal. So I was like, if this doesn't pay out, and then I check the Feymarch and it has it there, okay, I still think my opponent would probably check Luca before going Moon. It could be a bummer, but like, Luca's pretty fast, all things considered, if you reset out. So yeah, I didn't think it was too big of a deal. I also kind of wanted an excuse to have as much information as I could going into the Feymarch to think, do I need to fade this for key, or do I need to take these for key items? And the answer, once you got Earth Crystal, I think was clearly no. You only had access to, or only didn't have access to 2 bosses. So that kind of answered that question. But yeah, I thought about it, but I wanted the information, and I think Luca's an efficient check on these flags. So yeah.
No, it's very, very smart. The other thing that you did that caused chat a little bit of stress was not check the forge.
Did now did Yangus check it?
Yes.
Yangus did. He went straight to forge and got a fiery hammer.
Oh no. Well,
But he also did not have a Sid.
yeah, I was gonna say it probably doesn't show. Not gonna lie, I might still think about taking him. The fiery
We
hammer.
were saying.
That's what we said. I said, you know what? For a fiery hammer, I would go and ditch my Tella after a grind and pick up a Sid, and he can get levels with Cursed Ring and go at it.
Yeah, I think if you get to the point where you're clearing the moon and you've invested time on forging to get the fire hammer, I'd certainly think about it.
Uh-huh. Well, that is all the questions I had. Humphin, did you have any other questions?
Nope. I think we are all good there. So, any last thoughts, Fleury, before we let you go?
No, just I appreciate y'all taking the time to commentate my match, watch me leave things on Battle Speed 6, leave Dancing Daggers on Dragoons. Reset out of fights and remember about Last Arms and all those things. I appreciate y'all taking the time to volunteer. All the volunteers we have. We are very fortunate, I think, to have such a dedicated team to making things like this happen, and always super proud to be a part of it. So thanks y'all. Happy to get through, and gonna need a lot more practice for the next game.
Well, GG's tonight, and good luck. If I can read this chart correctly, I think you are facing Lord Bob Bree.
Yep.
Okay. So good luck in your next match, and we will see you around.
Thanks.
Yep. And as we're doing all that, Yangus did finish up his run as well with a time of 1:45:01. So let's see if we can bring him in and have a little chat.
And there he is. GG's to Yangus.
Hello. Yeah, that was pretty good.
Yeah, that was a fascinating one to come together. I think the route that you wound up taking from what Fleury was saying was very in line with what he was expecting to do, and I think it was the very sensible route through the seed. I'm curious how you felt about doing the D Machine grind when you did versus holding off on it to later on.
Yeah, that was I definitely struggled with that whole decision. I think what was it? I took Porum and then I took Kane back, and yeah, it was definitely I really didn't know. That's one of my least favorite things in these flags is getting early darkness before you go underground, because there's too many decisions to make at that point. So first thing I struggled with was I was pretty sure I wanted to do it because of Rydia, and she was the only black mage I had. And I like having a black mage in the boss hunts like these. So it was just I knew I wanted to take Rydia, but I also didn't know if I wanted to bring Porum with me for another slingshot, and then on top of that, if I did bring Porum, would I drop Kane or would I drop Sid? And ultimately I kept Kane because I didn't know where Valvalis was.
Yeah.
So there was a whole lot of decision making to happen in a very short amount of time. So, and then just doing the D machine was kind of sloppy, but that's just my experience.
Well, I don't know if you and Fleury discussed after the race, but we did find Valvis, and she was at the CPU spot behind that vanilla elements.
Yeah, he told me that, and I was just so oh no, I can't believe that.
Yeah.
But I didn't think I was, well, one, I'm not that comfortable fighting elements in a high HP spot still, and the other one is I didn't think I had good enough like gear to take elements there because I would have just been relying on Rydia entirely. I think.
I
Yeah,
mean, and that is definitely what Fleury did, and it did take him quite a bit of time to get through both of those fights at that point. So definitely no one blamed you for seeing that and noping right out.
Yeah, honestly, if it wasn't exactly Val there, I think that would have been the pivot that would have given you a win, quite frankly.
Yeah. Plus, there was a kind of a waste when I fought Demist on the moon. There was definitely some times where I lost time for sure, but I was definitely really nervous when I was getting towards to going to the moon, and Fleury still hadn't finished yet, so I was like, what's going on? Because I've definitely been losing time, but yeah, that was pretty nervous.
Well, I know that you felt like you were losing time, but like you played like you've been playing for years. We did not up in the booth see either of you make any major mistakes. Like it was just as smooth of a run and of a pathing choice and just of like decision making as you could possibly have with a seed like this, where it just felt like everything was open up within the first 25 minutes.
Well, thanks for that vote of confidence. Yeah. I definitely felt, I felt pretty good, I guess. It was just sticking with my decisions, I guess, and not second guessing myself.
Yeah, that's always the hard part.
But you know what? You played two very, very like fantastic matches in this tournament. And so you should definitely be proud of showing that you are a runner to be reckoned with for sure.
Yeah, my goal going into this wasn't to win really, it was just to not lose by more than 15 minutes or something, and I definitely accomplished that, and I more than accomplished that, so I'm pretty happy about the way I played.
For sure. Well, I know that you are now out of the Red Moon tournament, but do you have any plans in free enterprise for your future?
Who's to say with the tournament wise? Like, I'm definitely want to participate more in the async clubs that are going to start up, I'm sure, after the tournament. I almost entered one of the tournaments, but I didn't. I think it was ZZ4, and then I skipped the Adamant Cup. So I think it just kind of depends on if I like the flags. And I definitely liked these flags a lot.
Yeah. That is very fair. Well, I do hope that we get to see more of you in the off season and community races and in the next tournament, because you are a very exciting runner to watch, and I really enjoyed both of your matches. I think I've been in the booth for both, and so it's just been really, really enjoyable for me personally.
Wow, that's great. I'm glad I'm entertaining. Awesome.
But yeah, I hope you have a great night, and I hope you leave with your head held high for racing two very, very fantastic opponents and keeping right in step with them.
Yeah, I am. It was great. And you guys have a good night as well for the audience.
Take care.
Take care. So yeah, that was quite the match. As we're saying, Fleury does continue on in the waning bracket. That will be the last we see for Yangus in this tournament, but hopefully we see him more in the off season and in the community races. But that is not all of the free enterprise that we will have for you this evening. We're going to send you all over to Free Enterprise 3. We have 3 channels now to go watch another race that we have going on between Mike and Tybalt. This is another waning Red Moon match. So this is another critical elimination match between these two.
And please, when you land in the chat, remember no spoilers, because you will get the newspaper. And we hope that you continue having a great Thursday, and we will see you around tomorrow for a whole other slew of matches as well.
Yep. So for Ingy Dave on the tracking, Pancraz in the restream, I've been Huffin, joined by JMac. Have a good night, y'all.
Take care.